Welcome back. This is BL Stories for You. I'm an indie author dedicated to original BL storytelling. From high school drama to fantasy worlds, everything you hear is written by me. I'm so glad you're here for this journey. Let's begin.
In the heart of Thailand's entertainment industry, one name stood above all others. Sitthijai, better known to the world as Ki. At just 32, he wasn't just a popular actor. He was a cultural phenomenon. Every drama he starred in broke records. Every award show he attended turned into a spectacle. And beside him always was Fu, his longtime on-screen partner. Together, they were known as Ki-Fu, the Golden Duo. Their chemistry wasn't just something fans talked about, it was something people felt. Posters of them were everywhere. Fans screamed their names at red carpets. Their scenes were replayed endlessly across social media. To millions, Ki and Fu weren't just actors. They were legends. But for one person, Ki was something even more. KiBua, a fresh graduate from acting school, had grown up watching Ki's rise. His tiny room was filled with textbooks, old scripts, and just one carefully pinned poster on the wall, Ki's poster. Every night, KiBua practiced lines in front of the mirror, imagining himself standing beside his idol. He didn't dream of fame. He didn't dream of awards. He only wanted one thing, just one scene with Ki. One day, he whispered to himself, clutching his script, "I don't need to be your lead, Pikey. I just want to stand in the same frame as you." But dreams have a cruel way of breaking when you least expect it. One evening, KiBua opened his phone and saw the headline that shook the entire industry. Ki and Fu part ways. The end of an era. The Ki-Fu era was officially over. Fans flooded social media with tears, anger, and disbelief. Some blamed Fu. Some blamed Ki. Everyone wanted answers, but no one had them. The duo that had defined a generation was gone. And before anyone could even process that loss, the second bomb dropped. A massive scandal exploded across the news. Allegations of tax evasion. Police investigations. Legal documents flashing across TV screens. Photos of Ki leaving a police station with his head lowered went viral. Overnight, the nation's sweetheart became the nation's villain. The internet turned ruthless. Old clips were twisted into proof of arrogance. Tired expressions were edited into rude moments. Hate videos spread like wildfire. He was always fake. This is why Fu left him. I knew he was toxic. KiBua watched everything in silence, his phone shaking in his hands. He replayed the hate videos, the rumors, the cruel edits, and felt his chest tighten. "This isn't him," he whispered, eyes burning. "They're making it all up. He's not like this." While the world threw stones, one person quietly built a wall. Under the anonymous username Kithion, KiBua spent his nights fighting online battles. Comment sections were flooded with hate. People calling Ki a thief, a liar, a fraud, a fake star who deserved to fall. But KiBua refused to stay silent. He typed back, again and again, defending someone he had never met. To everyone else, Ki was just another celebrity. To KiBua, he was human, and humans deserved the benefit of the doubt. Then one day the truth finally came out. A breaking news alert lit up screens across the country. Ki had been cleared of all charges. The real culprit, his accountant, confessed to the fraud. Justice arrived. But it arrived late. The headlines changed, but the damage was already done. Fans had left. Brands had pulled out. And the shadow of his breakup with Fu still followed him everywhere, like a ghost that refused to fade. Behind closed doors, Ki was tired. Not just physically, but emotionally. That was when director Kitty approached him with a new project. A script that was supposed to be a masterpiece. A story that could rebuild his career. There was only one problem. It was a BL drama, and he needed a partner. Ki refused instantly. He was done with forced pairings, fake fan service, and public relationships that ended in betrayal. If he was going to stand beside someone again, it would be on his own terms. He would choose. Meanwhile, KiBua's life was about to change forever. He had finally passed the first screening at Blue Iris Company, Ki's agency. Standing in the crowded lobby, clutching his audition number. He felt smaller than ever. Everyone around him was taller, louder, more confident. Then the room shifted. Security moved first. Then people parted. Kimoktin. 3 bodyguards, dark sunglasses, an aura that made everyone fall silent. Bua just stood there, watching, his heart pounding so loudly he wondered if anyone else could hear it. He wasn't a fanboy in that moment. He was just a small fish staring at the ocean. Later that night, Ki sat alone in a dark room, flipping through audition tapes. His expression was bored, disinterested. None of them caught his eye and he was ready to reject them all. Until he saw one face. Nalin Santatham, Bua. There was something different about him. His acting wasn't perfect, but his emotions were real. His eyes carried sincerity. Something Ki felt had disappeared from the industry years ago. He paused the video. Then he made the call. "I found him," he said simply. "The boy with the gentle face. He's the one." And just like that, Bua's life flipped upside down. The next day, he sat in a bright conference room, staring at the nameplate in front of him. Lead actor. He thought it was a mistake. Then the door opened. Heavy footsteps echoed across the floor. Kimoktin, and sat directly across from him. Bua's mind went blank. He had auditioned for a side role. He thought he'd be lucky to appear in one scene. Now he was Ki's co-star, his idol, his hero, the man he had defended online for years. He struggled to keep his expression neutral, but inside he was panicking. Don't faint. Don't stare. Don't act like a fanboy. Be professional. After the reading, everyone left the room. Only the 2 of them remained. Ki leaned against the table, studying him closely. He didn't sugarcoat anything. "The fans are going to be cruel," he said. "They still want Fu and no doubt they'll compare you to him. They'll try to tear us down." Bua swallowed and nodded. He understood. He had seen the internet at its worst. Then Ki smirked just slightly. "Good. So we have to be perfect. I need your best. Our chemistry has to be so real they have no choice but to believe it. Are you ready for that?" Bua nodded again, but this time his heart was racing for a completely different reason. For years, he had protected Ki from behind a screen. Now, he would stand beside him in front of the entire world. And neither of them knew how much that decision would change their lives. From the very first workshop, everyone could feel it. The chemistry between Ki and Bua wasn't something you could fake. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't rehearsed. Every time they stood face to face, reading lines in the mirrored rehearsal room, the air seemed to change. Their eyes locked. Their voices softened. Their bodies leaned in just a little too close. The staff noticed. The directors noticed. Even the crew whispered about it. But just when the spark grew too intense, just when it felt too real, Ki would pull away. His expression would harden. His voice would turn professional. His distance would return like a wall slamming down. It was as if he was afraid of catching fire. Then came the house visit. For Bua, being invited to Ki's penthouse felt unreal. It was the kind of moment fans dreamed about. He stood outside the luxury door, script in hand, heart racing, smiling like this was the best day of his life. Until the door opened. Inside, another young rookie actor from their company was sitting casually on the sofa, as if he belonged there. The sight wiped the smile off Bua's face instantly.
He barely reacted.
He told the boy to go home, his tone calm, detached. Then, without any emotion, he gave the rookie a brief, meaningless kiss on the cheek before ushering him out.
No explanation. No awkwardness. No guilt.
Then he turned to Bua like nothing had happened. Ready to start? Don't just stand there. In that moment, Bua realized something painful. To Ki, closeness was casual. Affection was casual. And maybe people were casual too. Relationships meant nothing to him. Later that night, they practiced a climactic scene on the floor. Their faces were inches apart. Bua could feel his heart pounding in his chest, loud and wild. Ki's hand brushed his neck, his breath warm, his eyes unreadable. For a split second, it felt real. Then Ki pulled back sharply. Get out. "We're done for today." The words hit harder than any online hate. That was when Bua understood intimacy to Ki was either a tool or a distraction. Nothing more. He went home confused, hurt, and angry at himself. That's when his sister, Amy, stepped in. She stood across from him in their small kitchen, making tea, watching him cover his face like someone who had woken up from a dream too late. "Bua, listen to me," she said. "Stop building fairy tales in the air. Ki is a superstar with a complicated life. He is not who you think he is. To him, this is a job, nothing else. Make yourself a success. Stop waiting for him to notice you." Her words stung, but they grounded him. That night, Bua made a decision. No more fanboy fantasies. No more illusions. Only growth. Only professionalism. Then came the press conference. The series was finally announced. The Silent Partner. Reporters crowded the stage. Cameras flashed non-stop. Online comments exploded in real time. "Who is this Bua? He can never replace Fu. This pairing is a joke." Bua sat there, his hands trembling behind his back. He felt like he was standing in front of a storm that wanted to tear him apart. Then Ki leaned in and whispered calmly, "Don't look at the phones. Look at me. Somewhere out there, someone is rooting for you. I know it." After the conference, as they walked down the hallway, the atmosphere shifted. The temperature felt colder. Fu appeared. He walked toward them with his agent, his smile sharp and fake, eyes cutting straight through Ki. "Congratulations, Ki," he said smoothly. "And you must be the new partner. Good luck. You'll need it to keep up with him." The words sounded polite, but they were laced with poison. Bua watched Ki's entire body stiffen. The confidence vanished. The calm disappeared. For a brief moment, Ki looked like someone who had just seen a ghost. That was when Bua realized something terrifying. The breakup wasn't just professional. There was history, there was anger, and there was fear. As Fu walked away, Bua couldn't stop thinking, what really happened between them? 2 years later, success didn't arrive quietly. It crashed into their lives like a tidal wave. The Silent Partner wasn't just a hit drama. It became a global phenomenon. Posters flooded cities across the world, from New York to Tokyo to Bangkok. Clips of Ki and Bua went viral daily, their on-screen love story replayed by millions. Fan meetings sold out in minutes. Critics who once doubted Bua now called him a natural prodigy, a once-in-a-generation talent. The world forgot about the scandals. They forgot about Fu. They only saw one thing, KiBua. On stage, Ki would gently wipe a smudge off Bua's cheek, his touch soft and deliberate. Fans screamed like the world was ending. Bua looked at him with wide, sparkling eyes. Part of it was acting, but part of it was painfully real. Then the cameras turned off. The moment they stepped into the parking lot, Ki's hand slipped away. His expression flattened, like someone switching off a switch inside his head. He walked toward his car without looking back. "Good job today, Bua. Rest well. See you at the shoot tomorrow." That was it. For 2 years, this was their reality. On screen, they were lovers. Off screen, they were barely even friends. Bua wasn't naive. He saw the headlines, the gossip, the rumors. Ki spotted at a private club with unknown model. Ki seen leaving a hotel with a mystery companion. He knew Ki never stayed attached to anyone for long. He knew Ki kept everyone at a distance, especially him. Felt like Ki had built a glass wall around his heart. Bua could see him clearly, could almost touch him, but never truly reach him. Sometimes, Bua wondered if that wall was there to protect others, or to protect Ki himself. Standing in front of the mirror in an expensive suit before an awards gala, Bua barely recognized himself. He looked successful, famous, untouchable, but his eyes were tired. 2 years, he thought. 700 days pretending to be the person you love most in the world. Sometimes, I forget where the script ends and where I begin. Who am I really to you, Pikey? He tried to follow his sister's advice. He focused on his own career. He won awards without Ki. He became a star in his own right. But every time they filmed a romantic scene, Every time Ki held him close, every time their eyes locked, the lie became harder to live. The bar was supposed to be a celebration. The cast was laughing, music was playing, glasses were clinking, and for once, everything felt light. But the moment the doors opened, the entire atmosphere shifted. Fu walked in. He looked flawless, confident, untouchable, and he wasn't alone. His arm was wrapped around a handsome man. Someone new, someone obviously important. The laughter died, conversations slowed, and Bua didn't look at Fu. He looked at Ki. He saw the way Ki's hand tightened around his glass, his knuckles turning white. He saw the way Ki started drinking, fast, one bottle after another, like he was trying to drown something that refused to stay buried. Later that night, in the quiet of the parking garage, Ki stumbled toward his car. His steps were unsteady, his expression closed off. Bua ran after him and grabbed his arm. "Go back inside," Ki snapped, his voice slurred. "Leave me alone." But Bua didn't let go. "Not this time," he said firmly. "You're hurting. You're not driving like this, and I'm not leaving you alone. Not today." Ki froze, and for the first time he didn't push Bua away. They ended up back at Ki's penthouse, the city lights spilling through the windows, painting the room in soft, lonely glows. Ki sat on the floor with a bottle in his hand, leaning against the sofa like he had no strength left. Bua sat nearby, not too close, not too far, just close enough to stay. "Why do you care?" Ki asked quietly. "Why can't you just do your job and go home?" Bua hesitated, then finally said what had been building inside him for 2 years. "Because we've been living a lie. We pretend to be soulmates for the world, but I don't even know what's really going on with you. You're suffering in silence, and I can't watch it anymore." Ki laughed bitterly. Then his voice broke. Everyone thought his relationship with Fu had been fan service, just a marketing strategy. But it wasn't. He admitted they were real, that he loved Fu, that he had planned to propose, that he had been ready to tell the world, ready to lose everything just to be with him. Then the memories shifted, from warm and soft to cold and shattered. Fu had already moved on. He had been seeing someone else for months, and when the tax scandal broke, Fu used it as his escape. He left. He disappeared. He erased everything. "I felt like I was dying," Ki whispered, tears finally falling. "The only thing that kept me going was the angel who defended me online when everyone else was throwing stones." Bua moved closer and wrapped his arms around Ki, pulling him into a tight, grounding hug. Ki buried his face in Bua's shoulder and finally let himself cry. Really cry, for the first time in years. "You don't have to carry it alone," Bua whispered. "I'm here. I've always been here." Ki pulled back slowly, his eyes searching Bua's face like he was afraid of what he might find. Then, almost desperately, he leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't polished. It wasn't perfect. It was shaky, raw, and full of everything Ki had been holding back. Then reality hit. Ki gasped and pulled away, panic flooding his expression. "I can't," he said. "I can't do this again. I can't date my partner. I don't want to be hurt." Bua gently cupped Ki's face, steady and calm. "I am not him," he said softly. "Don't think about tomorrow. Just stay here, with me, for now." For a moment, Ki hesitated. Then he leaned back in. As the city lights glowed outside, the boundaries they had built for 2 years finally collapsed. The walls, the rules, the fear, all of it crumbled like shattered glass. That night wasn't about cameras. It wasn't about fans. It wasn't about the KiBua brand. For the first time, it was just two people who had been pretending for too long, finally being honest with each other. After that night, everything changed. The invisible glass wall between Ki and Bua didn't just crack. It completely disappeared. They weren't just co-stars anymore. They weren't just partners on a call sheet. They were everywhere together. Always. They cooked in Ki's kitchen, laughing when Bua accidentally covered his nose in flour. They shared quiet car rides, Bua falling asleep on Ki's shoulder like it was the most natural thing in the world. To the outside world, it looked like friendship. To them, it felt like something much more dangerous. Of course, fans and staff noticed. Rumors exploded online, and reporters wasted no time cornering them with questions. "Are you two dating?" they asked. "Is this real?" He smiled. Polished, charming, perfectly controlled. "We're just very, very close partners," he said. "We understand each other well." They denied it to the world. And maybe, in some way, they denied it to themselves. On a commercial set, they stood too close, held eye contact too long, whispered things no microphone could catch. And when cameras turned away, they disappeared behind curtains, stealing moments they knew they shouldn't have. They were hiding in plain sight. Then one day, everything shifted. Key's manager, AM, showed him a viral TikTok edit. Fans had slowed down a clip of him looking at KiBua during a break. His expression was soft, unguarded, almost painfully affectionate. Fans called it his puppy dog eyes era. AM laughed. "You're such a good actor," she teased. "You even fooled me." But Key didn't laugh. He stared at the video, and for the first time he didn't see an actor. He saw a man in love and completely exposed. "It's not funny," he said quietly. "Delete the link." AM was confused. "It's good engagement, Key. Fans love this. Just ignore it." But Key couldn't. And in that moment, an old ghost returned. Fu. Key remembered what it felt like to be vulnerable, to trust someone too much, to give someone the power to hurt him. He didn't see love in those puppy dog eyes. He saw weakness. He saw risk. He saw a weapon that could be turned against him. KiBua wasn't just a co-star anymore. KiBua was someone who could destroy him if he let his guard drop any further. And that realization terrified him. KiBua had just started filming a brand new project, and everything seemed to be going well, until his co-star Ray started getting a little too close for comfort. During a break, Ray leaned casually against the railing beside KiBua, lowering his voice like they were sharing a secret. "You know, KiBua," Ray said with a playful grin, "I joined this project because of the script, but honestly, I'm staying because of you." KiBua laughed awkwardly. "You're just being friendly." Ray shook his head. "No, I'm being honest. It really is because of you." He hesitated for a second, then added, "But I'm curious about something. Are you and Key actually together? The rumors are everywhere." KiBua's fingers curled slightly as he looked down. "They're just rumors. We're just partners. That's all." Ray's expression brightened instantly. "Then I have a chance?" he asked softly. "Don't worry. I won't interfere with whatever dynamic you and Key have. I just really like you, and I hope you can give me a chance." KiBua felt a strange weight settle in his chest. Ray was kind, honest, open. Everything Key refused to be. But the heart doesn't chase what's easy. It chases what it already chose. At the edge of the set, someone else was watching. He stood there in an expensive black suit, looking completely out of place among the crew. He told himself he was just checking on the project, just being a responsible and supportive partner. But then he saw Ray's hand resting on KiBua's shoulder, and something inside him snapped. He walked over, his expression calm, but his voice ice-cold. "Am I interrupting something?" Ray turned, completely unfazed. "Actually, Kun-Ki, you are." He smiled politely. "KiBua just told me you two aren't together. So, why do you look like someone just stole your favorite trophy?" Key's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. Later, in the parking lot, KiBua grabbed Key's arm and dragged him toward the car. "What was that?" KiBua snapped once they were alone. "You're the one who said we should keep things professional. You're the one who said we could see other people." Without warning, Key pulled him close, his hand gripping KiBua's waist. "Do you like him?" Key asked quietly. "Do you want him to touch you?" KiBua swallowed, his voice shaking. "Maybe I do. At least he's honest." Key stared at him, his eyes dark and possessive. "No, KiBua. You're mine. Only mine. No one else can touch you. Only me." The next morning felt painfully different. KiBua woke up in Key's penthouse, sunlight pouring through the curtains. He reached for the other side of the bed. Cold. Empty. On the pillow was a short, impersonal note. Urgent work. Lock the door when you leave. Ki. The warmth of the night before was gone. To Ki, intimacy was just a moment. To Bua, it had felt like a promise. A promise that disappeared with daylight. That night, Bua decided he was done waiting. Ki's actions the day before had proved he felt something, but Bua needed the truth. He stood outside Ki's apartment with a bag of Ki's favorite food, ready to demand answers. The door was slightly open. He looked inside, and froze. Ki was kissing another man, someone from his past. Bua didn't scream. He didn't confront them. His heart just dropped, heavy and numb. The bag slipped from his hand. He turned and ran, his footsteps echoing down the hallway, each step sounding like something inside him was breaking. Inside the apartment, Ki pulled away, his expression tight and irritated. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. "Just go," he muttered. This was a mistake. The man left, confused and offended. Ki sat down alone. He had tried to prove something to himself. He wanted to know if Bua was just another phase, just another temporary comfort. But the kiss felt empty, like ash. All he could see was Bua's face. His phone buzzed again on the coffee table. Firavik, Fu. His ex had been calling non-stop for days, and Ki had ignored every single call. He stared at the screen, then whispered to the empty room. "I'm terrified, Bua. If I give you my heart, you'll turn into him. You'll use me until there's nothing left, and then you'll leave." The words hung in the air, heavy and lonely. This time, Ki was the one chasing. He sat in the back of his van, phone clutched tightly in his hand, redialing the same number again and again. Every call went straight to voicemail. No texts, no replies, nothing. Panic crept into his chest as realization hit him all at once. He didn't even know where Bua lived. 2 years. 2 whole years, and he had never once stepped into Bua's world. Bua had always been the one coming to him. And now, for the first time, that distance felt terrifying. With shaking fingers, Ki dialed the only person who could help, Bua's sister. Emmy picked up almost immediately, but her voice was cold. "You don't even know his address?" she snapped. 2 years, and my brother is just a partner to you? Ki swallowed hard. "Emmy, please. I know I've been an idiot. I just need to know he's okay." There was a long, tense silence on the line. "Stay away from him, Kun Ki. You've done enough. Please," Ki whispered, his voice cracking. "I'm begging you. I just want to see him. I need to know he's safe." Emmy hesitated. Then she sighed, her anger mixing with exhaustion. "I'll send you the address. But if you hurt him again, I won't forgive you." When Ki finally arrived, he expected anger. Shouting. Doors slammed in his face. Instead, he found Bua curled under a blanket, pale, sweating, barely awake. The sight hit him like a punch to the chest. He dropped to his knees beside the bed. Bua didn't even seem to notice him. He was too ill, too weak. So Ki stayed. He didn't leave. He decided he would look after him, no matter what. Over the next hours, Ki tried to take care of him and failed miserably. He rolled up the sleeves of his designer shirt and stood in the kitchen like he was facing a battlefield. He burned the congee, overcooked the vegetables, nearly dropped the bowl twice. When he finally brought the soup to Bua, he carefully blew on the spoon like a worried parent. Bua let out a weak laugh. You're a terrible cook." He smiled, tired but gentle. "I know, but it's the only thing I can do for you right now. Just eat, okay? Please." Bua obediently took a sip, feeling slightly better. That night, the room was quiet except for the ticking of the clock on the wall. Ki lay behind Bua, holding him carefully, like he was afraid he might break him. His chin rested lightly on Bua's shoulder. After a long silence, Ki finally spoke. "I'm sorry about last night," he murmured. "It was pathetic. I thought, if I proved I didn't need you, I wouldn't be afraid anymore." Bua stayed quiet, listening. I sent him away immediately, Ki continued, because he wasn't you. No one is you. Bua turned slightly. Why are you saying this now? We aren't even real. We just have a strategic relationship. Ki's arms tightened around him. That's true. But something has changed, he admitted. You healed something in me I thought was dead forever. I'm terrified, Bua. I'm scared that if I love you, I'll lose myself again. He hesitated, then whispered, but I'm more scared of living a day without you. Bua slowly turned in Ki's arms, their faces just inches apart. His eyes searched Ki's, trying to find the truth. Give me time, he said softly. I need to know who I am to you if we do this for real. Ki nodded immediately. Okay, whatever you want. The next morning, Ki left early for a shoot. Before leaving, he leaned down and kissed Bua's forehead softly. Bua watched him go, then sat up in bed, the color slowly returning to his cheeks. He had spent his life looking up at Ki like a star in the sky. But now he realized something. The star had fallen, and somehow it had fallen right into his hands. Bua whispered to himself, "Tonight, I'll tell him how I feel. Tonight." Bua walked down the hallway of Ki's luxury apartment building. A small gift clutched in his hand, dressed neatly, heart pounding like a drum. He had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. Today he thought he would finally tell Ki how he felt. But the universe had other plans. He reached Ki's door. It was slightly ajar. Bua smiled, full of hope, but froze. Inside, silhouetted against the city lights, were Ki and Fu, and they were kissing. The gift slipped from Bua's hand and hit the floor with a soft thud. His chest tightened. Tears welled up. A broken sob escaped. Inside, Ki's eyes snapped open. Horror flashed across his face when he realized who was standing there. Bua didn't wait. He turned and ran toward the elevator, his sobs echoing through the hallway. "Bua, wait!" he shouted, bursting out of the apartment, shirt disheveled, hair messy. "It's not what you think. Please, just listen to me." Bua stopped for a moment, looking back. His face was red, streaked with tears. His voice trembled with anger and heartbreak. "I've seen enough," he yelled. "I saw it yesterday with that other man, and I saw it today with him. I was a fool to think I could have a relationship with you. I regret everything. I regret being your fan. I regret being your partner, and I hate that I ever loved you." The elevator doors slid shut. He reached for them, but it was too late. The silence that followed was heavier than Bua's sobs. Back in the apartment, Ki slammed the door. Fu stood by the window, calm, almost smug, as if nothing had happened. Ki's face twisted with fury, the likes of which no one had ever seen. "Get out. You knew, didn't you? You saw him coming and grabbed me. This is how you always are. Manipulative, always trying to get your way. Leave. Get out of my house before I lose my mind." Fu's expression wavered. The smugness slipped away, replaced by something softer, realization. You really love him, don't you?" Fu asked quietly. Ki's voice was sharp, full of pain and truth. "Yes, I do, and I regret not realizing it sooner. He's the only reason I stayed sane after you left. But you ruined the only good thing I had left." Fu sank into a chair, finally dropping the arrogant star mask he had worn for years. Regret replaced pride. "I thought I was bored of us, Ki," Fu admitted. "I thought I wanted freedom, a solo career, but out there, it's cold. No one looked at me the way you did. I was arrogant enough to think I could just walk back in and replace him. But now, I see it. I didn't just mess up our career. I lost the only person who truly knew me." Fu got up and walked to the door. He paused, looking back at Ki, who was sitting on the floor, staring at the ground. "I'm sorry, Ki," Fu said softly, "for everything, the lies, the cheating, and for today. I'll tell the press we're never getting back together. Go find him. You two deserve to be together." Fu left. The door clicked shut, leaving Ki alone. He looked down at the small keychain Bua had dropped, a tiny memento from Phuket. Ki clutched it to his chest, eyes closing, pain and longing mixing in silence. The past was finally gone. Fu had moved from a wound to a scar. But Ki realized something important. Clearing the past meant nothing if you didn't have a future. And Bua was the only future he wanted. Ki stood in the middle of Bua's tiny apartment. The trophies they'd won together gleamed faintly on the shelf, but without Bua, they felt empty, meaningless. He whispered to himself, almost in disbelief, "He's gone, just like that. No note, no message, no clue where he had disappeared to." He thought back to how frantic he'd been just minutes earlier in his office. He had called Bua's manager, his voice tight with panic. "I don't know where he is, Ki. He missed the brand event. He's never done this before. If he doesn't show up, the agency will sue. I don't care about the event. Find him. Now," the manager stammered, overwhelmed by Ki's intensity. Now he was at Bua's desk. His fingers hovered over the laptop, unsure where to start. He typed, "KI, access denied." He typed, "Nalin, access denied." His chest tightened. His hands shook as he typed, "KiBua," and then the screen clicked open. On the desktop wallpaper was a photo of Bua as a child, smiling with his mother on a sunlit beach in Phuket. Ki's voice barely rose above a whisper. "Phuket," he went home. A small notification blinked in the corner. "Welcome back, Kithion." Ki froze. The username glowed on the screen. The world felt like it had stopped. Kithion. It wasn't just a random username. To Ki, it was more than that. It was a lifeline. The single light at the end of the darkest tunnel he'd ever walked. Flashback. 2 years ago, Ki sat in a dim, messy room, bloodshot eyes staring at his phone. The comments never stopped. "Tax thief. Fu deserves better." Every post reminded him of everything he'd lost. His partner, his career, his dignity. He was on the edge, searching desperately for something. Anything that told him he wasn't worthless. And then he saw it. A single username, bright and unyielding against the sea of hate, replying to every hater, defending him with unwavering faith. "I don't care what the headlines say. I've watched Ki since his debut. A man with those eyes cannot be a liar. I believe in him. I will always be here." That one voice had kept him from breaking completely. That stranger, Kithion, had saved him. Back to the present. Ki stared at Bua's laptop, tears streaming down his face. The truth hit him like a thunderbolt. "It was you. It was always you. You were right by my side, and I didn't even know." Determination replaced despair. Ki grabbed his car keys and snatched up Bua's Phuket keychain. Every ounce of fear, every memory of scandal and heartbreak, fell away. Nothing mattered anymore. Not the press, not his solo career, not the world. Thailand's sunsets were legendary, but that day in Phuket, even the horizon seemed to hold its breath. Ki's hands gripped the steering wheel tight, his eyes locked on the winding coastal road ahead. The greenery blurred past him, the ocean sparkling in the fading sunlight. His chest felt heavy, but he couldn't turn back. He knew the truth was waiting, and he couldn't keep running anymore. Meanwhile, Bua sat quietly on the porch swing of his modest wooden house. The waves lapped softly against the shore, carrying the scent of salt and wet earth. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he hadn't noticed. The silence was supposed to help him heal, but instead, it made his heart ache louder. Then, a shadow appeared at the gate, and a voice, rough, hesitant, but unmistakably his, cut through the quiet. Kithion. Bua's hands trembled. The coffee cup rattled on the table. He turned slowly, eyes wide, heart racing. "Bua, how did you find me? And why did you call me that?" He stepped forward, deliberate, careful. No red carpet, no cameras, just two people finally facing the truth. "I found your laptop. I found the username that saved my life 2 years ago. Why didn't you tell me, Bua? Why didn't you tell me you were the one who stayed when everyone else was throwing stones at me?" Bua's eyes welled up. He looked away for a moment, swallowing hard. Bua. Because I didn't think it mattered. I did what I did wholeheartedly, never expecting anything in return from you. But after hearing what you said, I thought maybe there was hope. And then, after seeing you with Fu, after seeing you with everyone else, I realized I was just a placeholder. Ki's hand reached for his. Bua tried to pull away, but Ki's grip was firm, steady, unshakable. Ki, you were never a placeholder. I was just a coward. I saw Fu, and it reminded me of the pain I ran from. But the only person I want, Bua, is you. Fu asked for a second chance, and I told him, it's too late. My heart, it doesn't have room for him anymore. It's full of you. Bua's voice shook. Don't give me hope. I can't be a fool a third time. Ki leaned closer, resting his forehead gently against Bua's. Then don't be a fool. Be my judge. Watch me. I'll spend every day proving you're the only one. I won't just say it. I'll show you. Later, they stood together in front of the incense Bua had lit for his late parents. Ki knelt, voice soft and sincere. Mother, Father, I know I'm late, and I know I've hurt your son, but I promise you, from this day forward, he will never have to suffer because of me again. I will spend my life making sure he's the happiest man in Thailand. Bua watched him, his walls slowly crumbling. A small, genuine smile broke across his face as he reached for Ki's hand. Bua, I'm still watching you. Ki smiled back, brushing his thumb over Bua's hand. Good, he said softly, because I plan to give you a very good show. For 2 years, they lived a life the world didn't know existed. No cameras, no flashing lights, no screaming fans. Just Ki and Bua free to be themselves. You'd see them wandering the streets of Phuket in casual clothes, sampling street food, laughing until their sides hurt, exploring hidden beaches, and stealing quiet moments only meant for them. For Bua, it was a revelation. He stopped seeing Ki as the untouchable superstar everyone adored. He started seeing the man, the one who laughed at terrible jokes, got frustrated when plans went wrong, and held his hand in silence, making the world feel safe. Then came the day Ki decided to take the biggest step of his life. It happened quietly at Bua's family home. The garden was magical, thousands of fairy lights twinkled. Bua's favorite flowers filled every corner, and candles glowed in a perfect circle across the lawn. The evening air smelled of blossoms, soft and sweet. Ki's heart raced as he held Bua's hands, looking straight into his eyes. Bua, years ago, you were the only one who believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. You were my fan, then my partner, and then my savior. But now, I want to add another title. He knelt. The velvet box opened, revealing a diamond ring that sparkled like the stars above. Will you be my partner for life? Will you marry me? Tears welled in Bua's eyes. Words failed him, but his nod said everything. Yes, 1,000 times yes. And just like that, their secret love became a promise for life. Of course, the world didn't stay quiet for long. A leaked photo from their private ceremony spread like wildfire, and the headlines screamed across social media. Secret wedding? KiBua is real. Fans erupted. Comments flooded in. Suddenly, the nation realized that the most famous duo in Thailand, Ki and Fu, weren't just on-screen partners. They were two people with lives, hearts, and stories beyond the cameras. Hours later, Ki and Bua posted a video to their official social media. Sitting side by side on a sofa, hands intertwined, their matching rings on full display, they spoke directly to the world. It's true. We've found our happiness. Thank you for supporting us. We hope you can celebrate this new chapter of our lives with us. Not everyone reacted the same way. In a quiet apartment, Fu watched the video on his tablet. A soft, sad smile crossed his face. He turned off the screen and gazed out at the city lights, glittering and indifferent to the heartbreak and joy he had just witnessed. Some stories end with a goodbye. Some stories begin anew. For Fu, it was closure. For Ki and Bua, it was just the prologue. I used to wish I could just stand in the same frame as him. Now, I get to wake up in the same frame every single day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this one. See you in the next chapter of love, drama, and life.